Hello and welcome to Jerry's Cornish Kitchen. And today I'm going to do a seasonal recipe. I'm going to do Dorset apple cake. Now I spend a lot of time in gardens and this year's been a bumper year for apples. But most of them just seem to go to waste. So I'm going to show you how to use those apples. I'm going to use Bramley's, but you could use Granny Smith's or any other apple you find that's got a little bit of sharpness to it. Right, let's crack on and get the ingredients out. So here we have our ingredients for our Dorset apple cake. 225 grams of self-raising flour, 225 grams of diced apple. Now I've used Bramley, but you could use Granny Smith or any other apple you find, but it just wants to be quite a sharp apple. Then I have 100 grams of Sultanas, 115 grams of soft light brown sugar, 115 grams of cooking margarine. Now you could use butter, but have you seen the price of it recently? And I really don't think it matters in this sort of recipe. I have 2 large eggs, 4 tablespoons of milk or 60 mils, 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon and half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Now this is fresh nutmeg that I've grated. If you're going to use ground nutmeg that you buy from the shops, you probably want to up that to 1 teaspoon. It's just that fresh nutmeg is so much stronger. And then we have 2 tablespoons of demerara sugar, which we will sprinkle over the top of the cake just before it goes in the oven. So for this recipe, you need a 20 centimetre loose bottom cake tin. We're going to preheat our oven to 180 degrees centigrade, which is 160 degrees Fan, gas mark 4 or 360 degrees Fahrenheit. Right. I'm going to line and grease this, so let me show you how I do that. Now, I'm going to put some greaseproof in the bottom, but the easy way, watch. A little bit of cooking oil, greaseproof paper, folded in half, folded in half, folded into a triangle, folded into another triangle. Line the point up with the middle of the cake tin and cut around. Open it up, perfect circle. The paper sticks to the oil and that will do us. Now to grease it, I'm using a small amount of butter. In it goes. We grease the paper. And we grease the sides. Now a little trick taught to me by a pastry chef. We get our flour sifter. And that will mean the cake does not stick. So we're going to start this recipe by putting our margarine into our bowl. We then add the soft light brown sugar and we're going to give this a whisk. As you can see, it goes light and creamy. Next, I'm going to take my 2 large eggs and my milk, and I'm going to whisk them together, like so. Then I'm going to take my flour, add my cinnamon, add my nutmeg, and I'm going to give this a gentle mix. Oh, smells lovely. Proper autumnal. Right, back to our bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of the egg mixture. And whisk. And some of the flour. And then some more of the egg mixture. And some more of the flour. I think you get the idea. And now we use the last of the egg. The last of the flour. And to make sure it's completely incorporated, we use our spatula. And we go down the side of the bowl, we get all the flour and all the mixture. And make sure we give it another good whisk. And that's our cake mixture. So now we're going to add in the sultanas. Ooh. The apple. And give it a nice mix. Like so. Then we get our cake tin. And we put our cake mix into it. And then we're going to smooth this with the back of a spoon. You can obviously leave it as rustic as you want, but I just like to smooth it out a little bit. And then we get our demerara sugar. Now the demerara sugar will give it a lovely crunchy topping. Now this is going to go into the oven for between 40 and 50 minutes. I'm going to check it at the 40-minute stage, and I'm putting it into the middle of my oven, and I've already got a baking tray in there, so it's going to sit on the top of a baking tray. Right, off we go. So my cake took 50 minutes. I've checked it with a skewer, as you can see, inserted into the middle, and it came out completely clean. And this is probably the only way and the best way to check whether your cake is cooked. Right, now we're going to leave that now for at least 15 minutes to rest in the cake tin, and then we're going to pop it on to a wire rack to cool. Lovely. So we've let the cake rest for 15 minutes. Let's turn it out and put it onto a wire rack. There we go. And now we can let that cool properly. Now I've let the cake cool. So I'm going to cut it and we're going to see what it looks like. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Just a little slice. And there we go. Dorset apple cake. Absolutely delicious. So there we have it. Dorset apple cake. Absolutely lovely with a cup of tea. Absolutely lovely. Warmed up, bit of custard over the top. Cool, there's an idea. I also thought maybe Christmas time I'd put the sultanas in some brandy, soak them up a bit. Cool, bet that'd be nice. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, subscribe to my channel, press the like button and leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching Jerry's Cornish Kitchen, and see you again. Bye then.